Guys, we're up here with Mr. Bett Niddrie. Brett, how long have you been racing boats for?
Oh, geez, that's a big question. I'm too old now. Started when I was 16 in a little 1.6 litre hydroplane. First boat I ever drove was a boat called Frenzy, brought off Alan Millard. Just a little 1.6 hydro. It was a good little hydro. It was a fast boat back then. It was probably one of the leading boats. Brought that and raced that since I was 16, probably to about 17, I suppose. Built a brand new hydro with Tom Heffernan. Boat was called Airwalker. We ran that for a few years. Didn't have much success with it. It was sort of a bit of had a different bottom in it. Had like an S bottom in it. Didn't have a flat plane bottom, which a lot of the hydroplanes run. It was sort of newish design. It was a Studebaker design, and it didn't really work with our type of engine over in Australia. You know, in America they ran them, and they ran a 2.5 litre in them, which was a little bit more torquey, and that sort of seemed to be all right with with a bigger engine. But when we went back to a 1.6, it just didn't have the go, and we didn't. Yeah, it wasn't a fast boat, but it was reliable. It done a lot of racing over the time, and yeah, that was probably the first 3 or 4 years of racing we did was with the 1.6s.
Good class to start in, not too bad.
Very it was
competitive.
It was very competitive. A lot of racing back then. We were probably racing. 2 or 3 times a week. Over a month or so. Sorry. So yeah, we were racing a lot of times, and it was fun. It was really good.
Good close racing. Stepping a little bit closer to today. I know you've got the 6 litre, but before that, what else have you been racing?
So when I turned 18, 19, I ended up buying a boat out of New Zealand, which was called Radical Rat, off Warwick Jones. We had that boat for, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years. Campaigned that boat, raced everywhere around Australia. It was excellent. We had good sponsors back then, and we could afford to go racing. It was pretty cheap too to go racing, not how it is these days. Fuel was cheap. We used to buy a drum of methanol like for $160. Now they're nearly $400. So it's a huge difference in price in fuel over the years. But done a lot of racing in that boat. Lucky enough to win the Grivers Cup in when was it? 99, I think it was. Off the top of my head. Probably highlight of my career. It was it was a hard day. It was very rough. Raced the great Tony Walsh to the end, and lucky enough to take the win. And I'm sort of lucky enough that I was the youngest ever to win the Grivers Cup, and no one's sort of beaten me on that thing. Jack and Ken tried, but they never got over the line with that one.
That's a bit of history for you right then and there.
Yeah, it was. It's lucky I was. Was fortunate enough to race. At a younger age. So.
So Brett, going towards this weekend, you're taking the 6 litre yourself?
Yeah. Just I'll put the 6 litre back in it. Just another Toyota engine I've got here, so we'll put that back in and see how it goes, and have a bit of fun again. I sort of sold my engine to a customer over in Adelaide, which I probably shouldn't have until the end of the year. But we just we'll go back over and have a bit of fun, and see how it all goes, I suppose.
Now, Brett, you're standing in front of 2 boats.
Yeah.
Obviously, people can see. You might be able to see, but it's the Reckless and the Immortal.
Yeah.
Brett, you built the 2 of these boats. Tell us a little bit about them.
So Mark's was first. I've sort of been doing Mark's work for, I think we worked out about, I think it was about 16 years, I think it is, or 12 years. Through the 6 litre ranks and all that sort of stuff, and he went to Blown Lights and now the Unlimited. So, he started with Mark. Obviously, it runs a small block Chev in it, with basically a big block cylinder head on it. So, it's a good boat. We've learnt a lot over the years, and I was lucky enough that he sort of gave me the boat and, do whatever you want to do, and, You know, a lot of R&D and changes, and just trying to push the envelope basically. I was lucky that Mark's just given me free range with it, and yeah, he's had a lot of success. I'm lucky enough over the last 2-3 years, Blake come to me about building a blown engine for his boat. Started with Blake first, built a gearbox, driveline, engine, fuel system, everything for his boat. Basically went through it. Blake's had a lot of success. It's been very competitive, and he's now starting to get his head around driving. He's doing really well. You know, he sort of puts himself down now and then, but he's doing really well. And then halfway through getting his boat going, I ended up, Tate asked me to do Tate's boat, so started doing Tate's. They're basically identical engine combinations between the two boats, but one's got a Roots supercharger on it. Tate's has got a PSI on it now. It had a Roots, but the supercharge failed. First time we were actually racing it, which was unfortunate. So we ended up putting a PSI on Tate's. Yeah, so basically engine combinations are basically identical bar superchargers.
That's a lot to take in, really.
Yeah, like it's good, being the two engine combinations are identical, so they're very reliable, which is good.
Interchangeable parts?
Everything interchangeable. You change rods, pistons, crankshafts, rockers, everything's interchangeable as a long engine. Obviously just the supercharger side of it. I was lucky enough to put a Motec on them. The boys, because we had to put data loggers on them, it was probably cheaper for us to put a coil pack system on it and a full Motec system on it, which Motec has designed a system now to run just coil on plug ignition only, so you don't have to run EFI as fuel side of it. So yeah, they designed that for our circuit race guys, which was very nice for Motec to do that. These were the first two boats, Blake's and Tate's, and Mark's now just switched over to it last year. So they're all coil on plug now, which sort of upsets me old man because there's no more magneto. But when you're starting to buy a whole system and start to build a new type of boat, you need to, it's a cheaper option to go down that way than buying a magneto and buying a coil system. And yeah, it's hard that way. So it's a cheaper option that way, I should say.
Brett, you build boat engines, but I look around the shop and there's cars here, there's cranks, there's a lot of memorabilia on the wall. There's part of your boat on the wall. Yep. But mate, what else do you do here?
So we do basically everything, from a midget engine, speedway midget engine, to sprint car engines, to jet sprint engines, to circuit car engines, basically anything. We do a lot of burnout car engines. That's sort of, when I got out of racing myself, I started doing a few burnout cars. Killer B was the first one. That's probably the biggest recognised car in Australia. It's now gone to Cletus in America. So that's probably where I started doing burnout car stuff. But that's just gone crazy. Yeah, like I couldn't even count how many engines I do in burnout cars and tune-ups. They're all over the country, Perth, WA, everywhere. They're just everywhere. So, yeah, that keeps us entertained. Those guys are sort of, try to destroy their gear every time they go out. There is a lot of money in that sport, like a lot of prize money, a lot of egos. But, yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it. It's a big challenge. But yeah, I've had a lot of success with that. So yeah, it's been really good.
It's good to keep you all in the loop. Brett, one question I wouldn't mind knowing is how long have you been building engines for? Because, we're around a similar sort of age. Have a little think about this one. How long have you been doing it for?
Well, I'm actually 46 now. And I started building my own engines when I was probably 15, 16. Built my first blown motor when I was 18. A lot of sprint car stuff in between all that too. Done a lot of sprint car engines in the early days. I got out of it for a long time just because started doing the boats. Paul Burton was my first major customer. He come to me and helped me start my business. I'm a diesel mechanic by trade. That's what I was doing before. So, all earth moving stuff. So yeah, Paul Burton, the late Paul Burton started my business. He was my first major customer. Done a lot of racing with him, through Big Chief and also Warlord. Won a lot of things. Won the Grivers Cup. I was lucky enough to drive for, when Paul passed away, he asked me to take the boat to New Zealand, and I won the world titles in it. So yeah, it's sort of, every day is different. The years have all changed, I suppose, but yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed it.
Well, thank you very much for the trip down memory
lane.
Memory lane. There we go. Yep.
Yeah.
But Brett, best of luck over the weekend. Let's see that B&R hopefully can be on the podium at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, we can hope. I don't care who wins. One of my customers, it doesn't matter in my eyes. They're all as good as each other, and we're trying to make every boat, go as good as they possibly can. There's no favouritism or nothing, and hopefully one of them can get in the final and win.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for your time tonight, Brett.
No dramas.
Take it easy.
Thank you.